Oh dear. All right. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, however you found me. I'm just thankful you're here with me today. As you can see, I'm in a new space, a new to me space. I'm still on our property, but we have this shed. Our previous owners were, she was an amazing gardener. But unfortunately, I don't have that skill. And this shed was her potting shed. And it's beautifully put together, and I just really love it. And it has a lot of light. And the light in my office just was not cutting it. So we decided to move my main office space out here. And as you can see, we are at 2:30 in the afternoon that I'm videoing this. Beautiful light. It's nice and comfortable. There's lots of storage. So I brought some stuff out today, and I'm hoping and praying I can get through today's video. I know I've been behind these last couple of videos, so I'm hoping to get ahead. Our January quilt block was this wonderful Wandering Star. And our second quilt block, oh goodness, I think it was called Road to the White House, was this one. And today we are going to do one called Irish Chain. Now, I have done Irish Chain before, and this one's a little bit different. The design on this one, the way they have it set up, is a little bit different than what I'm used to, but I'm excited to get started with it. So first of all, we want to make sure that we have our correct fabrics. And so again, I have mentioned before how I label mine. So I know that these two patterns, this is light or medium 1 and medium 2. It's the same fabric. One's pink background, one's blue background. And then I have a larger print. It's the dark 1 and the dark 2. So again, it's the same exact print, except this has a pink background. This has a blue background. And they were part of a set, a quilting set. And then this is actually a sheet, and this is my light. So those are my fabrics I'm working with today, and I'm going to go ahead and switch over to videoing as best I can what I'm going to cut out. My space is a little limited. I can't find all of my tools just yet, but I'm going to do the best I can with what I was able to find so that I can get this together for you and up on time on Sunday, whatever this Sunday is supposed to be. I have it written down somewhere. The 20th. So it is the afternoon of the 16th, and I'm hoping and praying I can get this together for you and get it uploaded on time so that you can see it Sunday morning or after anytime after that you want to watch it. First thing we're doing here is I am double checking my different fabric pieces. In January, I had made too many blocks, and so what I'm doing here is I'm taking those blocks that I had cut that I wasn't supposed to. I'm going to use those, but I also went ahead because I had some extra. I'm supposed to make a 4x8 cutting of the light fabric and a 4x8 of the first medium, and then a 4x8 of the light and a 4x8 of a dark, and I'm using, I believe, dark 1. And what I did instead, because I had those previous ones, I just made a 4x4 of the light and a 4x4 of dark 1 is what I did in order to get the first cutting I needed to do. Yeah, there we go. There's my 4x4. Okay. And then I'm going to draw a line down the middle of one of those. I'm taking the light now. I'm going to make that 4x4 here. See, I'm just using paper, scissors today and a pencil. I just can't find my little baggie of goodies. They're still somewhere packed up as I was trying to transition out here. And then let's see what else I'm going to do here. So I'm also grabbing the light because I need a 2 1/8 by 40 inch strip of the light. And then I need a 2 1/8 by 40 strip of the second medium. So again, that's 2 1/8 strip of the light, and then a 2 1/8 of my second medium. And you're going to see here I'm think I'm measuring 10 at a time, because 10 inches at a time, because I, again, don't have my correct rulers out here. So then I'm using that as my basis for when I'm measuring my second medium. My second medium is going to have a blue background. My first medium is going to have the pink background. And then I realized, oh, this wasn't selvage to selvage, so it's not big enough. So looking for the full selvage to selvage. So I'll hopefully be able to use that 2 1/8 by 40 at another point in this project. I still have 9 more blocks to make, but here we go. So I'm just making sure that it is big enough, getting my little small pieces out of the way, putting it to the side. And here I am. I took the 4x4 and I am sewing 1/4 of an inch on one side and then 1/4 of an inch along the line of the other side on that diagonal that I put with the pencil. And I'm using a card table, and so my machine bounces a little bit and then it seems to pull the thread out for some reason, which is kind of annoying. But then you're going to cut that down the middle, open it up. There we go. Now I'm taking the 2 1/8 by 40 inches. I am sewing that 1/4 of an inch from the side on one side. And the way they have this worded when I cut it is really, it throws me off. It was on another one as well that kind of threw me off. I understand what they're doing, but it was just kind of, okay, that's how you want to do it. But we'll get to that in a minute. Just keep sewing, sewing, sewing. What do you do when you have to sew? You sew and sew and sew and sew. And here I am ironing everything open. This is another thing that's really nice, is I'm able to put this rack in here of current projects. You can see that behind, and I have a sink in here, so I have water for my ironing board, or my iron and my ironing board. So I do such a great job showing you what my iron looks like. Sorry about that. Just ironing everything open, iron it, iron the seam to set the seam, and then I flip it open. I want the selvage to be over on the darker side. So that's, I set it with the light side up, and then I'm going onto the back and just running it down as well, making sure it's all nice and flat and beautiful. All right, here we go. So now I'm squaring up those blocks that I made. They want you to square them up to 3.5 inches. So you should end up with 4 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch light with your first medium blocks, and then 4 of your light and first dark. I chose first dark. You could choose your second dark, but I chose first. Just squaring those up to 3.5 inches. And you should have 4 of those as well. It looks here like I'm trimming down the ones from January that I had made. They were, I think, a 4-inch block. So that's why it's important to read and try to understand your instructions before you start going hog wild, especially if you're limited on your fabric. I have excess, so if I run low, then it's fine. I have plenty more of this fabric. What's nice about this series that we're doing here is I have a tendency to just do a lot of strip quilting. I'll do a special quilt for someone, and then all of the excess I just make into 2.5-inch strips. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I'm going to go back to this real quick. So here is where I'm trying to figure out what it's saying to do. What it says is to cut into 2 20-inch pieces. So that's what I'm doing here, is cutting it into 2 20-inch pieces. And then it says flip right sides together with the mediums opposite each other and cut 8 2 1/8 sections. So basically at the end of the day, this strip of I started pinning it at first, thinking if I pinned it, it would stay better, but then it just gets in the way of my ruler, quite honestly. So I stopped doing that. So basically what you're doing is you are cutting a total of 16 squares that are 2 1/8 squares. If you were to cut this 40-inch piece down, it would be 16 pieces of 2 1/8 wide with the 2 fabrics. So what they're trying to do is help you so that you're not cutting 16, you're actually stacking them on top of each other, and you're only cutting 8 times. So that's what you're doing, and you do have leftover from this. But back to when I do a specialty quilt, I have a tendency to take the leftovers, put them into 1/2-inch strips, and then I do a lot of strip quilting. And so next year will probably be a lot of different ways you could do strip quilting. And I find ideas on Pinterest, I find them on the internet, in all sorts of places, and go from there. So here we are, back to the sewing machine. We're taking it's called the Making 8 section of this one, where you're taking the light and the dark fabric, which I'm using, again, the first dark, the pink background, and you basically turn them so that it's like a checkerboard, so that the dark is on opposite. You're doing a 4 square. And this is really where the Irish chain is mimicked in this pattern, where it's basically on that diagonal. You have one color, and then traditionally a light color and a dark color with an Irish chain. I see a lot of these with like white and green, because green is affiliated with Ireland, but you can do them with any color. And it's beautiful no matter what. And there's different variations, double Irish chain, triple Irish chain. There's a plethora of options and cool things that you can do out there with it. Just cutting these little blocks open and pressing them open. Just the light in this room is just incredible. I'm hoping to do my dress up in here as well, so that you can see that a whole lot better, but we shall see. Back to the machine, and here's what we're doing. I'm just kind of showing you how they have it pieced together. So basically you're taking a 4x the light and first medium. You want the first medium to be in the top corner. Then you're going to take one of the 4 blocks, the Irish chain block, and you're putting that together. And basically you're going to have the 2 darks meet at the top. And then you're going to add another one of those, the light and first medium, with the corner to be at the upper right. So they're going to, for the outside, those are going to face out. Then you're going to take the second line, and you're going to take another one of the Irish chains, and you want the dark portion of it. I'm using the second medium, is going to be the top right. You're going to add the light and dark one, and basically the dark ones are going to point in to create like a diamond in the middle. And you're just going to repeat that pattern as you go along. I'm sure hopefully this is kind of clear what's going on. The picture should be a little bit more helpful. Mine aren't as contrasting as the picture in this book, but it turned out really beautiful. Right now I'm using my 3 blocks as somewhat of a valance here in the room. And once you get each one of these rows put together, there's 4 rows. You then put row 1 to row 2, then connect 3 to row 2, and then row 4 to row 3. when I'm done, I'm going to take this over to the ironing board. It looks like I have one more row left to put together. And I'm going to press that out. And then you'll see a picture pop up of what it looks like finished. And it's not squared up yet. I will square it up when I get all the blocks together. I'm hoping that you're enjoying this simplified quilting I'm doing here. I hope it's interesting to follow. I hope you continue to follow. I hope you've liked and subscribed to my channel. Next week I'm going to do some dress up stuff again, and I'll be doing some characters in green, which will consist of, I believe, Fiona from Shrek, Peppermint Patty from Charlie Brown. Oh, here we go. Fairy Mary from Tinkerbell, Poison Ivy from DC Comics, and one of my favorite actresses, Maureen O'Hara.